Welcome to our show. All the good ones
are taken, aka at Goat.
I'm Alex.
And I'm MK.
And this is our podcast. So, it's our surprise spooky episode.
And our last spooky episode of the spooky season.
Yes, I'm actually sad because October is coming to an end. And I'm like trying to like read all of the spooky books, like all the thrillers. I'm trying to watch all the spooky movies. I made a pumpkin loaf this week. Like I'm trying to soak it up, and it's just so hard because it's coming to an end this weekend. But
I know, and the weather like has finally cooled. I mean, today it was very humid, but overall it's just been nice and chilly, and just want to like snuggle up with a blanket and a good book.
Yes, I agree. It's the vibe. But yes, this is our surprise Halloween episode, and I am very excited because I really did enjoy this book. So
me too. And this weekend is Halloween for us as we're recording this. Yes. And we have so many fun plans.
Maybe perhaps a little too many plans, but
perhaps a little too many plans.
But it'll be fun. It'll be good to like see friends. And of course, like it's always fun to like dress up and stuff.
Oh my God. That's what I love so much about Halloween is dressing up. I wish I could just dress up for every party.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should just have theme parties from now on.
Yeah, we should just do a murder mystery like in the middle of the year and just like have everyone dress up.
I agree. We're going to be the only ones down for that. But
yes.
I mean, if our friends love us enough, cough, cough, they'll do it.
Speaking to all of you.
Yeah. For real. So what are you going to be for Halloween?
There's a couple things. So I'm going to a couple different parties. Shelby has a Ken outfit that he's already made, so I'm gonna get like a pink jumpsuit for the like de-brainwashing Barbies.
Fun.
And I also have an Alice in Wonderland costume that I didn't get to wear last year that I'm gonna wear, and a couple other things I think that I can just pull out of my closet.
Yeah. Okay. Cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
What about you?
I'm gonna be Lana Del Rey for every single party because I cannot afford multiple costumes.
That's fair.
I used to do that. Like every year I would be like, okay, I'm going to be this person on this day, like this person or thing on this day. Like now it's like, no, it's just too much of a hassle. But I did get another job.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Tell us.
It is very correct. I'm going to be doing more government biz.
Nice.
And I get to work from home, which is very correct.
Very nice.
Wow,
I'm
very
jealous.
correct.
Alex, I'm so proud of you for getting another job. It's so exciting.
Thank you. I know I've been like, fuck the establishment. Here I am like working for the federal government again, but it's okay. And I need to pay bills, so I'll pick my battles. And at least it's women owned. So
yeah. Moving on to our quote for our spooky book of the week. She hadn't understood how exhausting and heartbreaking it had been to hide such a big part of herself all these years, to reshape and contort herself into something more acceptable. She hadn't realized just how heavy her mask had been until she discovered what it was to live without it. To be at Nowhere House was to put herself in very real peril. So why, then, did she feel safer than she ever had before? This week's book is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna.
Woo! And then I'll go ahead and read our one sentence synopsis and then the resulting questionable chat GPT that follows. A modern sunshiny witch finds family and love. And then this is what chat GPT came out with. In the vibrant embrace of contemporary magic, a sunlit witch, God, discovers the true meaning of family and the enchantment of love. How sweet.
It did it so well last week.
So, like, it read the book to us basically last week, and then now it's like, sunlit witch. Okay. Here is the Goodreads. A warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. Woo. All right, MK, give us the summary.
As one of the few witches in Britain, Mika Moon knows she has to hide her magic, keep her head down, and stay away from other witches so their powers don't mingle and draw attention. And as an orphan who lost her parents at a young age and was raised by strangers, she's used to being alone and she follows the rules. With one exception, an online account where she posts videos pretending to be a witch. She thinks no one will take it seriously. But someone does. An unexpected message arrives, begging her to travel to the remote and mysterious nowhere house to teach 3 young witches how to control their magic. It breaks all of the rules, but Mika goes anyway, and is immediately tangled up in the lives and secrets of not only her 3 charges, but also an absent archaeologist, a retired actor, 2 long-suffering caretakers, and Jamie. The handsome and prickly librarian of Nowhere House would do anything to protect the children, and as far as he's concerned, a stranger like Mika is a threat, an irritatingly appealing threat. As Mika begins to find her place at Nowhere House, the thought of belonging somewhere begins to feel like a real possibility. But magic isn't the only danger in the world, and when a threat comes knocking at their door, Mika will need to decide whether to risk everything to protect a found family she didn't know she was looking for.
Woo! Good job. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches was published in August 23, 2022, and has a 4.16 on Goodreads. It was nominated for Goodreads Choice Awards in 2022 for Best Fantasy. Sangu Mandanna was 4 years old when an elephant chased her down a forest road, and she decided to write her first story about it. 17 years and many, many manuscripts later, she signed her first book deal. Sangu is an Indian woman who now lives in Norwich, a city in the east of England, with her husband and kids.
Yay.
Woo! All right, let's dive in.
Whew. Thank you, Alex, for doing the notes on these. It's been busy.
MK's got a lot going on. Yeah.
But all right, here we go.
So if they sound a little different, they are different.
They are different.
But MK will still be reading.
Yes. And it'll be great.
So go MK.
Mika Moon is a witch, a part of the Very Secret Society of Witches, run by an elder witch called Primrose. But Primrose, as we know, would not like this name very much.
Absolutely not.
All witches are born as orphans, and Primrose found Mika when she was born and raised her in a very comfortable home. Mika would not say it was a very comfortable home.
No. But she was fed and
she
survived. She survived. We're not saying she thrived, but...
The 20 witches of their group meet on the 3rd Thursday of every 3rd month to discuss witch happenings, spells, and gossip. Mika, in her free time, runs social media accounts pretending to be a witch, although she actually is, to the dismay of Primrose, who disagrees wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. Seeing her video, a cute gay man named Ian sees her magic, even though his associates cannot. I'm living for this. And wants to recruit Mika to a place called Nowhere House, owned by a witch named Lillian, who adopted 3 girls that live there.
Chapter 1, baby. Please continue.
Intrigued by this witch wanted note that Ian sends to Mika, Mika decides to head to Nowhere House, where, to her surprise, she immediately sees hints of magic, like sunflowers growing in the mid of winter.
Yeah. Well, it's November, but yeah. Why are sunflowers there? We find out later.
We do. She meets Ken, Ian's husband, Ian himself, Lucy, and Jamie, who all tutor and raise the children in various subjects. Mika doesn't want her truth to be told yet, and so she waits for confirmation from them, and she meets the 3 young girls, Terracotta, Rosetta, and Altamira.
Yeah, so she goes to this house, this Nowhere House, and Anna's like, okay, so we have these kids, but they're witches. And Mika's like, right. I'm not going to tell y'all shit about myself yet until I see what's up, essentially. And then I think it was Altamira, basically catches a ladder on fire with witch fire. It's green fire. And Mika's like, oh, okay. This is real. This is.
And sets it out immediately.
Yeah. And what a cute group of characters, truly.
Yeah, so all of these adults are taking care of a Black girl, a Vietnamese girl, and a Palestinian girl. So it's just a melting pot, if you will, of just fun and diverse characters, which is so fun and creates a quirky environment.
I love it.
So Ian continues to implore Mika to stay, giving the reason of a solicitor named Edward who loves Lillian but hates the rest of them. Who's coming to the house in December. He's afraid that the girls won't be able to control their magic, and he's going to find out and take them away. Mm-hmm. Mika has continued to voice the reason that too many witches in one place would wreak havoc, according to Primrose, which is the only like knowledge that she has.
Right.
She tells the group she needs to think about it before meeting the girls and ponders her own childhood and how isolated she felt before she officially decides to stay. So this is one quote that I really liked from the book. As a child, she had discovered the existence of her magic alone, had been afraid of it, and then fallen in love with it alone, and had learned to use and control it alone. Even now, 13 years into adulthood, she continued to experience the joy and wonder of magic alone. And I think that's what ultimately makes her decide to stay and be with the girls, is because she would have liked to have someone help her.
Right. She doesn't want them to like live the life that she lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically Primrose is like this elder queen witch. Okay. And she like organizes the secret society, as Mika calls it, to her dismay. And there are like witches throughout England, 20 of them, who come in addition to Mika. And they meet like every third Thursday of every 3 months. Mm-hmm. And like we said, they discuss like spells and things like that, but they are all like either orphaned. They're all orphaned. Mm-hmm. They're all orphaned, and they were either raised by family or they, like Mika, were raised like in a home.
Yeah.
And so they have only known like isolation their whole lives. Like they basically have to learn how to like weld their magic themselves, and like it's kind of crazy to think about, honestly. Like, I'm like, what? Like, these powerful beings are, like, literally by themselves, just, like, shit happening. Well, no friends.
It's probably, like, meant to be that way so that there's not too much magic. Like, they won't become too powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad.
Very sad. Mika returns home to pack some of her things, including her dog, her greenhouse, and her koi pond, that she can just all fit into her little car called the Broomstick, which I just love.
Which is so cute. Yes.
She says goodbye to her friend and neighbor, Noah, who loved her dog, Cersei. When she gets there, Terracotta is one of the girls, is displeased and actually even wants to murder her with the thought of her coming, and Jamie finds it hard to disagree. So Jamie essentially is the librarian, and he's out here like, I don't want another person in these girls' lives. Like, they're already in so much isolation as it is. They can't have another person like be in their life and then leave them or whatever. Yeah. And so Terracotta is one of the girls who is getting that vibe and like
mirroring it from Jamie. Yeah. Yeah. They are very protective. Yeah. Right. Everybody has trauma in this family.
Everyone has trauma everywhere.
Everyone has trauma everywhere. But specifically in this familial unit, as it will become, it's like abandonment trauma and like abuse trauma. So Jamie himself is basically like the father figure of these three girls, right? Like they will go on to say later on that like they really imprinted on Jamie, that type of thing. And so he feels not only very protective of like the girls, but like his home and his family, where he has found like a place to like love and to heal and whatever. So Terracotta sees that behavior and is like, okay, well, this bitch gotta go. Like
she shouldn't have even come. Yeah. There's like no reason for it. They were doing fine. Yeah. You know. Here's another quote that I really liked, and this is kind of the first quote of many throughout this book that kind of made me realize that this book is just like a large metaphor for neurodivergence and masking and trying to like fit in. Mm-hmm. I resonated to this book so much because of those little quotes that she put in there, and I just really enjoyed it. So here's the first one. After a lifetime of going out of her way to fit in with people around her, after years of perfecting a nice normal mask to hide who she really was, she couldn't fathom taking it off.
Yeah, I really like that quote as well. It we keep coming across this theme in some of these books, like the idea of needing to like be theatrical with like what you're doing in your outside life, right? Mm-hmm. Like putting on the mask, like trying to fit in, and like I felt so bad for Mika. Like I was like, girl, it's like you shouldn't have to do that, you know? And it's so relatable. So
yeah, I mean, I feel it like every day going to work. I have to be, you know, suitable. You know, I can't be like weird, quirky MK because she like is weird. You know, so.
And you don't know if like people will be like accepting of that, and like really like people just should be accepting of whatever. Right. They shouldn't be so like judgy.
When she arrives at Nowhere House, Altamira and Rosetta wait to greet her and help unpack her things. They're all like really excited about the koi pond that's just kind of like floating in the like parking lot.
Yeah, Ian is trying to like wave around the water like in the air and like because Mika can like levitate things and move them around, and the girls are ecstatic minus Terracotta that like a new person is there, and so they're all helping her like unload and whatnot.
So Terracotta and Jamie are noticeably missing. Everyone else prepares the attic for Mika, which she loves. She says it's so like romantic that a witch is in an attic with a...
I love it.
I know.
I love it. Like there are many like tropes in this book, but like I'm like relishing in it. Like I'm like, yes, the witch in the attic. She has the like view of the sea from her, the balcony. Yeah. Like I'm just like, yes.
And the front of the book also is just such a good depiction of it, I felt like.
It's so cute. The cover is so cute.
Altamira starts floating off the ground, and Mika gives them a short lesson, and Mika suspects that Ian knows a little bit more about witches than he's letting on. Mm-hmm. Mika continues unpacking and uses the opportunity to teach the girls about nature and magic and casts a spell to keep the bugs out of her room. They are thrilled when they head down for lunch, and Terracotta shows up and...
basically like...
it's like morning gear, like PJs?
I didn't know what it's called. Like what their
funereal garb.
I don't think it's that. Is it that?
Yeah.
Funereal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it might not be pronounced that way, but it is that word.
I knew there was a word for it. I put morning gear, like not like
here,
good morning, but like
it's like pajamas.
It's not pajamas. She's wearing a black dress.
Yeah. Terracotta shows up to lunch in all black, you know, ready for Mika's demise.
Yeah.
Blatantly telling her that she has plans to murder her.
Which is so funny. Like, can you imagine showing up? Like, so what would you prefer? Like beheading or like poisoning? Like,
yeah, I can smother you in the middle of the night. I am nothing if not cruel. Jamie won't let her get away with this. However, you know, she is still a guest in their home.
Yeah.
No matter how much he doesn't want her there.
The kids can't be around here like planning murder.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Mika offers to take the girls to the beach. So one fun thing too is that in her koi pond, all of the fish are named like are names of witches, and so is her dog Cersei, which I absolutely love.
It's like little things, like little details like that in books that I love.
Oh yeah.
Like the archaeology names, like the little witch names. It's just very cute.
Yes. So the girls can't go to the beach, but Mika heads down there with her dog Cersei, and they run and collect some sea holly for potions, which she ends up using to create a harmony potion for sharp feelings. I don't know what that
like
means.
Morning gear, like like harmony for like strong feelings. Like she feels like Jamie is feeling like,
oh, he has a strong feeling,
yes.
So we'll put some harmony in his tea.
Yes. Yeah.
She then goes to the cottage with Ian and Ken and gets more insight into Jamie and Lucy. She says the girls essentially imprinted on Jamie and is like a foggier? Is like a father figure, like Alex was saying, and that underneath the hard exterior, he has a good heart. Later that night, Mika hears Jamie walking in the garden and floats down to talk to him, which...
casual.
I know.
Casual.
I just imagine, like, in the Barbie movie, you know how she, like, floats down into her car?
Yes.
That's what I was
That's literally what I pictured, too. I was like, ah.
She entreats him to let the girls...
Girl, can you just read the note?
It says entreats!
She entreats him.
I don't know what entreats means.
Like, she... asks him, not begging, but like asks him, implores him.
Okay. She implores him to let the girls...
Oh my God.
Okay. She entreats him to let the girls find trust in her, even if he doesn't. He asks her about her videos, and she explains that they were a way to talk about something that she loved so much, but without actually having to be like, yeah, I actually do magic.
Right.
So she'd feel less alone.
Sweet Mika.
The girls begin their official first lesson with Mika. She allows the girls to ask about her history, and Jamie's under the tree supervising from the side. Mika explains about Primrose's leadership and her rules and how that affected her own childhood and, pretty much made her extremely lonely.
Yeah.
She explains that magic isn't something to be afraid of, but respected. And the girls are intrigued as they try to move their little stones. What is it called? An animation spell.
Yeah, basically Mika puts these small 3 stones in front of the girls and is like, okay, I want you to move these with your magic. And she's basically explaining to the girls this is gonna help you and me assess how much you can control your power, because we'll kind of move up into animating different objects and things like that as you continue learning, and they struggle with it at first, obviously.
Watching from the window, Ken and Lucy are encouraging Ian to not meddle with Mika and Jamie.
Which I love. He's so messy.
He's just so perfect. He reminds me a lot of... Did you watch Only Murders in the Building?
Yes!
He reminds me of Martin Short.
Yes. Oh my God. But if Martin
older.
Short was older and skinnier.
Yeah.
And
a taller
skeleton.
Yeah. White hair.
Yeah. Cute.
From Jamie's point of view, he's irritated at himself for being irritated with Mika's good personality and habits and her just all around sunshininess.
Right. She's out here saving bugs in the garden, and he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Why am I upset about this? Because you love her.
He reluctantly enjoys her warm smiles and funny attitude. He also can't deny how good she is with the girls, already noticing their improvement with the stones. Circe, Mika's dog, has essentially not left his side, and when Mika comes to find her nestled on Jamie's leg as he works at his desk, they discuss more about Mika's childhood and the need for her as a child to be accepted.
Yeah. It's honestly sweet. She's getting to know the family. Mika's a person that has literally been moving around all these years, literally not staying longer than a few months in one place, and the person she's known the longest is literally Primrose, right? So she doesn't really have any long-term friends. She's been friendly with people, her old neighbor or whatever, and she's had romantic relationships, but never lasting. Never. There's always something that happens, and part of that is her just protecting herself from those close attachments. So it's sweet to think that at this point Jamie's already cracking the shell a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All of them
even though he's trying to deny it himself,
oh yeah,
the feelings that are brewing, the potions
in the cauldron bubble.
Yes.
As the girls are crafting potions, Mika comes up with the idea to take Rosetta to the closest bookstore in town. Rosetta is the oldest and the most interested in the outside world, so she broaches the subject with the other adults, to which Jamie abruptly says no.
Of course.
They take a vote, and he ultimately changes his mind when he thinks of Mika's own isolated childhood and how much he knows Rosetta would love the trip.
Woo.
Jamie finds Mika in the greenhouse to tell her they're ready for the road trip. There's a cute, awkward moment consisting of stumbling into Jamie's arm and him picking a ladybug out of Mika's hair.
I was like, here we go. This is where it starts.
I know.
It's the close encounters, and he's saving her from tripping, even though he's trying to keep distance from her and stay away. It's
very cute. All of their interactions are just swoony.
Mm-hmm.
On their journey there, we find out more about Jamie's childhood and how he left his home at 16 and had lived with Lillian ever since. Rosetta even goes as far as to say Lillian likes her strays, which was just a oof.
It was a big oof, yeah, because so Rosetta's the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's been at Nowhere House the longest, but she also is she's older than the other girls. So she is keenly aware, as they all are, I'm sure, even though they're younger, that they're orphans. Lillian kind of just picked them up and plopped them at Nowhere House. She isn't really there all the time. And although they have this wonderful family that has raised them, there's still that feeling of okay,
first our parents were killed, and now the one person who was trying to protect us is just not even here.
Yeah. Yeah. So
once they arrive in town, Ian decides to make Mika officially a part of their family and tells her that his mother was a witch. At the bookstore, the family splits off and starts to explore. Mika even mentions, like, when they first walk in, how it was already kind of messy, and I really liked that, so that children weren't intimidated by, like, the neatness of a bookstore.
I like that detail.
Yeah.
I was like, more bookstores should do that for sure.
Mika keeps an eye on Rosetta's magic and encourages her to make friends with the two boys who are reading the comic that she's reading. Everything goes well, minus a small magical cyclone, which happens when Mika isn't even there. So Jamie stepped out, and Mika was encouraging her to go talk to the boys, and then Ian was like, oh, you should go get Jamie so that he can see this cute little moment. And so when she does go out, then the cyclone happens.
Of course. But thankfully, Rosetta and Ian are like able to manage it. And like they just buy all the books that were ripped up, essentially. And according to Rosetta, the boys didn't even like pick up on what was going on.
Yeah, they didn't even see it. So Jamie disappears to a solicitor's, which is a lawyer for us not English people, to see about his quote unquote his father's will. He informs Mika that he died when he was 12. Mm-hmm. One night, Mika hears that Jamie has accidentally cut himself and offers to help.
I love this.
I know.
Girl, you're awake. You're paying attention to what this man is doing. I mean, I'm sure she's up like brewing potions and stuff like that. So she's up and I'm sure she hears like whatever's going on in the house. But like, it's just nice that his room happens to be directly below hers and his window's open and her window's open and like they know what they're doing.
It's very cute. So ever since she helps fix his wound, it sparks many whiskey-filled nights and discussions. So pretty much like every night, Jamie comes up and they just talk. And he helps her with her potions.
With whiskey.
Mika brings up the fact that she's bothered by Terracotta's distrust, and Jamie again sticks to the fact that trust is earned. So he's saying, I mean, she can distrust you, like you have to earn it. And she's like, well, it's coming from you, though. So
right. Like, Mika's basically saying, like, okay, but you're the adult here. Like, whatever you're doing, these girls are literally going to model, right? Yeah. More so the younger ones.
Yeah.
But she's saying, like, yes, like, trust is definitely earned. Like, no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But if you're out here, like, specifically acting like I'm a person to be, like, that is untrustworthy, then your kids are going to be like, okay, yeah, this person is not cool.
Yeah. Since the first time Altamira accidentally levitated, Terracotta has been obsessed with it, but Mika has refused to teach her because it's really dangerous, especially like outside when they could just like float away.
Right.
In defiance, Terracotta finally does it anyway, and Mika is like, no, stop.
Right. So Terracotta's up in this tree, and she's basically like, look, like, I did it and you didn't even need to help me. Like, turns out we actually don't need you here.
Yeah, like, we're stronger than you are.
Yeah. And then she falls. So what does Mika have to do but, like, step in and save her ass?
Right. So Terracotta's mistake with levitating leads to disaster where if it weren't for Mika, she would have been hurt, most likely killed, honestly, because it was that, like, a lightning strike, like, went to hit both of them, but Mika was able to like manipulate it so it only hit her.
Right. So like Terracotta's using her magic, but also so like a big thing with magic in this book is like Mandanna describes it as like gold dust, right? Like it's kind of like ebbs and flows. It's all around you. The witches can see it. Ian can see it because like his mother was a witch, but it's also like it kind of has like a mood of its own. Like it has a mind of its own. Like if you're feeling one type of way, then the magic's gonna like kind of lean towards that side of things. And so like not only is Terracotta defying Mika by like getting up in the tree and levitating, but her magic is all like also like actively fighting against Mika's magic. So that's where the lightning bolt happens. So like Mika's trying to control Terracotta's magic. Terracotta's actively trying to like pull away from Mika's magic, and there's like this lightning bolt, as MK said, happens. And thankfully Mika, using her like older and more like advanced powers, like kind of absorbs the blast or whatever.
Yeah. So Mika, like Alex said, absorbs the blast, which results in her hibernating, as Ian calls it. Jamie does his best to hide his considerable feelings towards Mika in this moment of crises, and finally has a stern talking to Terracotta about her behavior and, you know, his role and her role and all of it.
Yeah.
Mika stays in bed for a couple of days, like not waking or anything, just like hibernating as it's called. And the family comes and regularly take care of her and entertain her. Once she's fully awake, Terracotta comes to apologize, and it all, you know, seems to be resolved, hopefully. Mika suddenly gets a text from Primrose asking her to tea, and Jamie is concerned after the recent events that, like, maybe she'll tell Primrose or, you know, something. Mika can't believe that someone like Jamie would worry about her just to worry. So this is a really cute part in the book, because she's like, oh, well, like, you're worried because, like, Edward the solicitor is coming, or like, oh, you're worried because I won't be able to teach the girls. Like, it's fine. Like, I'll be fine. And he's like, no, I'm worrying about you because I'm worried about you.
Like, about you, like your health, your well-being, like all of that. And also, like, why is Primrose just texting to text? Because, like, Primrose is not a casual texter, so obviously it has something to do with, like, the huge power surge that came from Mika and Terracotta.
Yeah. So Mika goes to tea with Primrose, and it is confirmed that she was invited because of this surge of power. Primrose says that she looks sickly.
I was like, girl, can you relax? Like,
Mika quickly covers by blaming it on a former him, still unbeknownst to us, and questions Primrose on the spell that cursed the witches. She gains some valuable knowledge, but is shut down once again when asking why can't witches be together. At least Primrose doesn't regret raising her. I actually did like this interaction with them.
yeah.
I understand why we don't like Primrose, but I actually did quite like her character.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, that tough, stuffy old person.
In the end, I came to care for Primrose more. It's hard because, so basically, like, the whole crux of the issue is that in Primrose's mind, the witches can't be together because it's too much of a risk. Right. But then she goes on to talk about this curse that, like, the witches are under, which basically forces all witches to be, like, orphaned. Like, basically their parents die no matter what, and that's the curse.
Mm-hmm.
And so to, like, protect themselves and from, like, their truth being known, like, she's just like isolation, right? So Mika's like, okay, well, let's talk about this, because now I'm teaching these 3 witches, and, like, things seem to be going, like,
without
okay.
telling her that she's
Yeah, she's definitely not mentioning the children to Primrose yet. And so Mika's like, okay, well, let me ask Primrose, like, these questions, because, like, it doesn't make sense to Mika. Like, if she's hanging out with these 3 witches and she herself is a witch, like, yes, there are accidents bound to happen, but, like, it's nothing as drastic as, like, Primrose is making it seem. Yeah. And so Mika this whole time is like, well, all of that pain and suffering for what? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and so something that we didn't really talk about is that Primrose didn't really raise Mika.
No.
Like, Mika had nannies throughout her life, and once some magical thing happened, she got a new nanny.
Right.
So, which means that she didn't have a nanny for very long.
Yeah, it was like a revolving door of nannies.
Yeah, so she's literally never had a constant person in her life except for Primrose, who was only, like, kind of there.
Yeah. And, like, what I did like about this conversation is that Primrose, like, she asks, I don't know if Mika asks Primrose directly, like, do you regret, like, raising me or whatever, or something like that. But it was brought up by one of them, and, like, Primrose was like, no, like, I don't regret it. Like, you know, like, I'm glad you're here, essentially.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
Yeah, it was very sweet. And she got a lot of answers that she didn't get growing up.
Right. And it's funny because, like, Primrose has all this knowledge, right? Like, she's, like, the oldest witch out of, like, all the witches that they meet in the society. And it's like, why is she not sharing these details with the other witches? Like, she's just like, well, you never asked. Well, girl, like, don't you think these people would be interested in, like, knowing this information?
Well, it's because she was shut down every time she asked when she was a little girl. So she figured to stop asking.
Yeah.
Like, if you're shut down enough, you're not going to keep doing it.
Right.
So
I feel like Mika's childhood was definitely more like, you're here, you exist, but, like,
that's enough.
Don't speak.
Yeah.
Like, don't say anything, don't ask questions.
Still feeling ill, Mika tries to get into her car and is unable to honestly even drive, but she can't cast this speed spell to get home, which is like a 4-hour drive. But just in time, her knight in shining scowler.
This is where the notes get unhinged because, like, I would, like, read... Like, I liked writing the notes, but it was so annoying to me to have to, like, pause after, like, every chapter.
Annoying.
It's so annoying, and you've been doing it for so long. But, like, I was like, oh, my God. Like, I just want to keep reading. So, like, I would just be like, blah, 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 blah. And, like...
It does get easier as you go because you don't have to type, like, once you realize, like, what you use, you don't have to do as, like, detailed. It just, like, takes practice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure I'll get there. But, anyway. So, it gets a little... unhinged, but just keep going.
I'm not gonna say knight in shining scowler,
but that's what he is. I'll say it if you don't want to. I'm gonna read this part because MK says she won't read it because my notes get too unhinged. But just in time, her knight in shining scowler, cough cough Jamie, cough cough, shows up to drive her home.
This was actually really sweet though.
It was.
Knight in shining scowler just gives me bad. I hate all of that.
Okay.
But it is what he is.
It is what he is.
And so Ken and Jamie like drive out 4 hours
ahead of time.
Like 2 hours before her
she leaves. Yeah.
To be there so that they could drive her home.
Which is so sweet because they like premeditated it. Like they
this is just the sweetest thing.
Yeah.
And it's like not even just Jamie, like it's Ken too. Like it's just all so sweet.
I love it. Because at this point you can already tell like this is their family. Like this is their unit. Right. And so it's so sweet to me that they just like accepted Mika and like shit does happen in a bit. But it's lovely.
It is. There is an almost kiss discussion because she's really tired and she's like, kiss me please, and he's like, you're essentially drunk, like you are in no way to actually want this. And they make it back to Nowhere House with Mika pretty much just asleep the whole time. It is painfully obvious at this point that they are very into each other, and once home, Ian is up waiting for them because he wants the tea. Mika dives more into her experience with people using her for her magic.
This part was so sad because
it was very sad.
Yeah, we go into like how some of the nannies like used Mika for like once they found out she had magic to like break open an ATM, and like this is a child, like, you know, and she doesn't have any like parents or family around here. Like she literally only knows Primrose, who like kind of stops by every now and again. So the nanny's like and then the nanny's like, okay, well, get me this money. So like in a child's mind, like you just want love and affection so much, of course you're gonna do whatever for that person.
And it's the same with her ex-boyfriend too, who just like uses her for the same like ATM or like to cheat on an exam, and she thought like this was her way for him to love her. But obviously not.
So sad, so disgusting.
So she's so tired from using her magic and also just from the whole like surge that happened a couple days ago, so she sleeps the whole day, and when she's awoken, she's soon awoken by the girls, and they go to have dinner. They talk about the solstice plans, which is essentially like their Christmas, with Edward's visit just a few days away, and Jamie announces he's going to see his mother and brothers, to which the family is very concerned about. Ian suggests Mika go with him, to which they kind of both reluctantly agree.
Yeah, of course she's gonna go with him.
Yeah, of course. Well, and also it was like another 4-hour drive that they like pretty much just did, so
there's just the family doesn't need to be going anywhere without Mika using her sweet spell. Like
I can't imagine going anywhere without a sweet spell.
I know, I'm upset that I have to drive anywhere now. So like
they begin their journey together and talk about Jamie's history with his family, which was very tumultuous and sad. It's no wonder he had to escape to Nowhere House. Feeling like he unveiled too much, he snaps at Mika and is, like, a second later forced to apologize about it. Lots of big feelings and... Okay. So pretty much Jamie was his dad's favorite. His dad died. His brothers were mad that he was the favorite and then just, like, abuse him. Like, physically and emotionally abuse this poor little, like, child.
Like, literally beat him.
Yeah.
And his mother basically was so distraught about everything that she just, like, let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, very sad. Which is also, I think, why they kind of are drawn to each other, because they both have these, like, abandonment scars that they, like...
Abandonment wound.
can feel with each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot that is relatable between them, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Jamie felt the need to escape. Mika continuously feels the need to escape. They found each other at Nowhere House. It's good. Trauma bond.
Mika has more understanding of why he feels the need to visit his family despite everything, like to kind of get this closure. And, you know, he still loves his mom, even though, like, she wasn't there for him. But, you know, family's family.
Yeah, because at first Ian was like, he should not go.
Yeah.
Like, do not let him go. Like, Mika was very concerned about the visit because of what Ian and Ken were feeling, who essentially, like, raised Jamie at 16, like, when he got to Nowhere House. That they are, like, his family, specifically. And Lucy, of course, too, but mainly Ken and Ian.
Jamie visits his family at the museum, and it's his mom's 60th birthday, so that's why he's going all this way. And he gets his father's journals back from his brother, which I don't think anyone was expecting, so it was very nice. While waiting outside, Mika runs into a witch from the society named Hilda. She's setting wedding plans with her fiancé, and Mika encourages her to be truthful about who she is with her partner. Jamie and Mika leave for home, and Mika confesses that she's worried that she will never be able to find love, essentially, and Jamie responds with, "It's a little late for that," which is
cute. He's like, this whole time is like trying to deny himself, and I'm like, dude, just let it be. Like,
yeah. On the way home, Jamie pulls over to suggest they search for more winter solstice ingredients and, like, potion ingredients. And he's happily listening to her talk and her little, you know, sunshiny cloud. And he confirms his feelings for her with a kiss in all caps. Why?
Wait, let me see.
Why did you put that in there?
They want to have sex in the woods. Because that's what Mika said. And I was like, I'm going to throw it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they won't have sex in the woods, per Mika, unfortunately, according to Alex.
I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
What she says, I don't want dirt in places dirt doesn't need to be, and I agree.
She's a witch. I don't know. Do
That's
a
a good
dirt
point.
rune? I don't know.
That's a good point.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah, all right. You got me there. The rain starts to fall, and they rush back to the car where Mika has a tea for dryness prepared because she read the weather, which very cute.
What a prepared lady, like, truly.
Jamie encourages her to open the tea shop that she's been dreaming of doing since she was little.
So basically, Mika's like this professional brewer of tea. Like, she like all witches have like their kind of what they're good at, like their skills and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, but Mika's her specialty is definitely in brewing and tea.
And even Primrose says so.
Yeah, which is a huge compliment that she gets from Primrose.
Yeah.
And so this whole time, Mika's talking about how much she loves it, like it's her passion. And Jamie's like, okay, well, you need to fucking open a tea shop. Like, get it, girl.
Yep. The family celebrates the winter solstice with good food, cozy gifts, and a snowflake hunt via Jamie. At the end of it all, worrying that Jamie regretted what happened because he's been avoiding her for like 3 days.
Stupid behavior.
Mika asks Jamie if they can go talk. Mika's having this like internal dialogue of like, he probably regrets all of this and like, it's sad and whatever. But this is kind of the quote that kind of summarizes her like turmoil inside. In a month or 3 months or 6, who was to say they wouldn't decide, like everyone else she tried to love before, that she was simply not worthy of being loved in return?
Oh, that's so sad.
It's really sad.
Because I feel like everyone struggles with that thought at some point.
Yeah. And Mika confronts Jamie in the garden, and Jamie's insisting that he hasn't told her everything, which is why he stepped back.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Mika's like, what the fuck do you mean you haven't told me everything?
Right. So she goes out there thinking like, okay, this is just going to be a discussion about like, what is this? Like, what is this relationship like, between you and I? Like,
she's assuming he just doesn't want to be together and like, it'll be fine because they're adults.
Right. Yeah. She was like, just let me know now and like, it'll be okay. And like, then he's like, no, well, actually, I took a step back because we are hiding many secrets from you.
Yes.
So, not great.
No. We find out Lillian has been dead this whole time. She died unannounced, and because of her will, the family decided to cover it up and invite a witch to hopefully to like fool Edward into thinking that Lillian was still alive. So Mika has been used just like her deepest fear, and has like throughout her entire life has been used, and is distraught. So she leaves Nowhere House like immediately, but promises to come back for Edward's visit.
Right. So here we are. This whole time she's thinking like, okay, well, I'm getting close to these people. I'm getting close to these kids. I'm getting close to this family. I'm getting close to Jamie specifically. And in the back of her mind, she's thinking like, okay, well, what if I have to leave again? Like, what if they just are using me to use me? And like, she has such a fear of like rejection, and she has such a fear of like being abandoned again. And so I don't blame her for like immediately leaving.
No,
like,
I don't either.
They literally, there's like, she goes out to where the sunflowers are, okay, digs up the sunflowers where Jamie literally told her they buried Lillian, and finds the skeleton wrapped up in like a crocheted blanket. And like horrifying. And it's like they just expected her, like what were they expecting her to do with all of that?
I don't know. Hurt and heartbroken, Mika returns to her childhood home where she spends Christmas alone and trying to figure out a way to fool Edward. So one of the first things Ian asks her is, like, do you know a glamour spell? Like, can you essentially, like, look like a different person? And she's like, no, I can't do that. And so now she's thinking back on this conversation, like, oh, that's why he wanted to know. And so she's hoping she can find a potion that will kind of do something similar, or like confuse him maybe, or she doesn't know. She's just playing around with her potions at this moment.
Right. Because although she's like found out the truth and like she's upset, she's like, well, no matter what, like I care about the girls, right? The girls didn't devise this plan like the adults did. So I'm going to do whatever I can to still help the girls. Yeah. And then I'll figure out what to do after Edward comes.
Here's a quote that I liked a lot. Over the years, Mika had embraced all the things that made her different and had discovered that she liked herself very much. But what was that worth without human connection? How was it possible to live, truly live, without the companionship of other people, without a family formed in any way of the thousands of ways families could be formed? It was a bit like that old philosophical question about a tree falling in the woods, wasn't it? If no one remembered her and she didn't matter to anyone, did she really exist?
Yeah.
So there's a knock at the door, and she's expecting the neighbors to like drop by some baked goods or something, but it's surprise, Jamie.
Her knight in shining scour.
You got that one.
They make love. But before that,
he explains the situation further and tries to reassure Mika that everything was real, how they all felt, how they feel about her. And she understands and shares how vulnerable the whole thing feels.
Then they make love. Which is sweet.
It was. And it's very like pretty fade to black. So if you don't like spice, this is a good book for you.
Yeah. It was sweet. It was wholesome. It was very, very nice. I like the full circle. Like when she left Nowhere House, she went to her childhood home where she was raised by like all those nannies, and then Jamie comes and it's like, okay, like, but now I have somebody.
Yeah.
I love it.
And also she was able to remember some of the good memories too. Like she had been so like obsessed, or not even obsessed, but just so focused on all of these like bad things that happened to her. She forgets some of the like good memories that she had with Primrose.
Yeah. Yeah.
The note says bad day time. This is Edward arriving. So, yeah, I guess here is a good time to explain a little bit more about Edward. So he's the lawyer of the will, and he hasn't been able to get a hold of Lillian because she's freaking dead. But no one knows that, and they can't tell him because then he'll call the police, and they can't have the police snooping around because, one, they'll find a skeleton, and two, they'll find the girl's magic.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Like, they're worried about the girl's magic being discovered, but also in Lillian's will, she had left the girls to be raised. Like, if anything ever happened to her, she had left the girls to be raised by her sister Peony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Jamie or Ian or Ken or Lucy, who had essentially raised these girls. So they're like, no way can we have some stranger come in and like split them up or like be raised by someone else. Like, we are the family. So Edward arrives, and because they're getting down to business, Jamie and Mika arrive late. I don't think that's why they were late.
That is why they were late.
No, he just came early.
Well, whatever.
I thought you meant like Edward was getting down to like actual business.
Like solicitor business. Yeah. Jamie and Mika were getting down to biz.
Okay. Well, Jamie and Mika arrive late to find that the family had locked Edward in the shed because they had animated Lillian's skeleton and dressed it up. Okay. And like had it walking toward
Yeah, so at this point the girls are like so developed in their power that they animated Lillian's skeleton. Like, I just don't understand how everyone was like casual about that. But anyway, what I thought was so funny is in the book, right? Like, because suddenly we shift to like Edward's POV in the chapter that we're talking about now, and he answers the door, and he literally says like, I'm suddenly looking at a skeleton in a flowered hat. I thought he was talking about Ian.
That's funny.
I didn't think he actually meant like the skeleton. Because I wasn't sure if it was like earlier in the book that they mentioned that Ian looks like a skeleton or whatever, but I was like, okay, so Ian answered that. No,
but
it
the
was
janky walk that didn't lead you.
No, obviously, as things were explained, I was like, oh, they animated the skeleton, like whatever. But at first, I was like, damn, Edward.
I mean, he would
like, that's
say
really
that,
mean. Yeah,
because he hates anyone who's like essentially not a white Englishman. So he hates that they're gay. He hates that Jamie's from Ireland. He hates
that they are raising like culturally diverse girls.
Yeah,
like it's just he's racist and mean and gross.
Yeah, he probably hates that Lucy isn't married. Like, just like everything.
Yeah.
Everyone is so happy to see Mika again, and she decides to go in and intimidate Edward, which doesn't really work. So, without knowing what else to do, she decides she has to call Primrose.
Because who is the best at memory reversal? Primrose.
Because she did it to all of the nannies every time magic appeared.
Yeah.
Primrose arrives and, to everyone's surprise, finds out that she is the twin sister of Lillian.
Dun, dun, dun.
Did you see this coming? Because I sure did.
Yeah, without a doubt. Because, well, Primrose mentions it earlier.
But
I did not think twin sister, no. But Primrose mentions early on that she has a sister. And then it's like, okay, well, Lillian is like this powerful witch who like plucked these 3 girls and like set these wards. And so I'm like, okay, well...
Yeah.
It would make sense that they were sisters.
Well, they all have flower names, so I just assumed that, like, Peony was just, like, their third sister or something.
Yeah, like, somehow related to them. Yeah.
I figured it was a relative of, like, they were all related. Or that I also thought maybe that Ian's mom was related, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. She wipes Edward's memories and sends him on his way, and despite Mika's wishes, still says the children can't stay together. She has... What was the quote that she said? Like, she's slayed the Gargan and now has to fight the gargoyle or something like that.
Yeah, or it's like, no, she slayed the gargoyle and has to face the Gorgon.
Yeah. So, as Alex says, she has solved their problem and created a completely new one. Mika convinces Primrose to allow the girls to stay together based on the fact that they are thriving and not just surviving. Mm-hmm. Which is facts because, you know, Mika was only surviving. Primrose meets the girls and they get along, and even though they have this saying that's like, damn it, Primrose, anytime anything goes wrong, they all click very instantly. And Primrose says she will stop in from time to time to see their progress. So she allows them all to be together.
Yeah.
And then the society meets for, I don't know if it's one last time, but...
For, like, last time
of the book.
Of the book, but, like, individually. Like, they're going to continue meeting, like, with other people now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was very sweet. Happy ending.
Very cute.
We have all of the tropes. We have grumpy sunshine, forced proximity lovers, and then a found family, which, as I put in my Goodreads review, it's just one big cozy hug.
Yeah, it just checks all the boxes. I mean, truly. Like, I love, like, wholesome... Like, when I think of, like, Halloween, like, I think of, like, cute spooks. Like, I think of, like, cute witches and cute cats and, like, pumpkins and ghosts or whatever. I'm not really big onto, like, the horror, right?
Yeah.
So, like, this was the perfect Halloween book. I literally love the story. Even if it didn't have to do with witches, like, I would have loved it regardless. The witches just add, like, another element that is just, like, so cute and fun. And I love the fact that she wants to open a tea shop.
I know.
The characters were all so well written. They all had such a good, like, personality. Like, Ken with his gardening, like, Ian being in theater and, like, being cute gay and like
dramatic
and like trying to set up Mika and Jamie the whole time and, you know, stuff like that. I just love this book.
It was a great book. I'm glad that we read this one. It was a perfect Halloween-y read, even though it kind of took place during Christmas, but it's because they don't have Halloween in England, so.
Facts. Yeah.
But what did you rate it, Alex?
5 stars.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 stars.
It was great. I rated it 4.5, mainly because it reminded me so much of The House on the Cerulean Sea, and The House on the Cerulean Sea is just so good.
I need to read that.
It's like it's the same vibes. It's just so immaculate, so
I'm going to
cute.
add my TBR.
You should. It's such a good book.
Okay.
For my Taylor Swift song, I have chosen State of Grace, the acoustic version, Taylor's version on Red.
I love that song, actually.
Taylor's version, yes. It's great. So the quotes that I picked for it: "We learn to live with the pain, mosaic broken hearts, but this love is brave and wild. I never saw you coming, and I'll never be the same. This is a state of grace. This is the worthwhile fight." And I thought that was very cute because they were
That's very fitting.
She was fighting for herself to be worthy of love.
Yeah.
To be loved.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really great. So my recommendations for it, the same vibes, are The House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I mentioned it in our first minisode. It was my favorite book of 2022 last year. Like literally same exact vibes, like gay vibes too. So
I will be reading it.
It's very good. And I also have a couple other witchy romances that are a little bit more spicy if you're looking for that to close out your Halloween books, I guess, even though this comes out on Halloween. Either way, it's never too late for a witchy romance. Check out The Ex-Hex and The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, which is also Rachel Hawkins, who does some mystery thriller books too. And Not the Witch You Wed and Not Your Ex's Hex by April Asher. So they're both like their own kind of like standalone series, and they're like different people in the group have their own books kind of.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's cute. I know like Not the Witch You Wed is like an alpha like werewolf shifter and a witch, and then Not Your Ex's Hexes is like a demon and a witch, and then the others are just witches. The Ex-Hex and the Kiss Curse.
Correct.
Very fun.
Fun. All right. So thank y'all for listening to our special spooky season episode. Happy Halloween, everybody. And please tune in next week as scheduled for episode 9, which will be Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yaros.
So excited for this one.
I am so excited for this episode.
Coming out just in time, like the day of Iron Flame's release. So if you need a refresher, or you're just, wanting to get back in the mood of Fourth Wing, listen to us.
I'm so pumped. As we'll get into, I loved Fourth Wing, and I'm glad that we're releasing when Iron Flame comes out, because ultimately we will be covering it, and this will be our first covered series.
First series!
Woo! And it's such a good one.
So excited. As always, email us at @GoatPod with suggestions or book recommendations. Check out our social media, @GoatPod on Instagram and TikTok. You can also find us on Facebook. All the good ones are taken. You can find my Bookstagram at Peas Reads or our Goodreads. And that's all.
Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate y'all. And yeah.
This has been All the Good Ones
Are Taken.